Welcome back to Invictus Forum. We are taking the last lap for revision for the exams. And here we are going to paper 3. And we are going to talk about how to tackle extracts on Coriolanus and the dance of the forests. I'm going to give you some tips which you will follow in order to do the right thing. First of all, you should be able to identify the speaker or speakers, where the conversation takes place, and what is the subject of the conversation or the context in which the conversation is made. Take, for example, when Menenius addresses the plebeians and uses the imagery of the belly, it is in a particular context. And what is the context about? The context is about the rebellion of the plebeians against the patricians, whom they reproach of not loving them genuinely. And he uses the belly to show that the plebeians are selfless and they work in the best interest of everyone, in the same way as the belly receives all the food, prepares the nutrients, and sends the food to the various parts of the body that need them to carry out their various functions. 2, identify the atmosphere in the extract, depending on the subject of the conversation, because it can help you when answering questions on stage direction, mood, tone, and attitude. They can simply ask you, take for example, in the situation where Coriolanus has been offered 1/10 of all the spoils that had been looted in Corioli after the defeat. And he tells Comenius that he has just done his duty as a soldier. And they ask you, insert a suitable stage direction. The mood cannot be harsh. The mood or the atmosphere is that of a group of people showing appreciation for a soldier, and Coriolanus declining the offer in the most humble manner because he thinks that his duty has been carried out of patriotism. It is his duty. And so the stage direction will read something like, in a calm manner, in quotes, of course. When you use the stage direction, it must be in quote, or calmly. The mood, what could be the mood or the atmosphere? It will be the surrounding, the way the extract captures the climate in the extract. The mood can be that of anxiety. The tone is praising. The attitude is that of appreciation for the bravery of Coriolanus to enter into the city of Corioli and come out alive, setting the pace for the other Roman soldiers to have courage to enter the city after he has done the greater part of the job. 3, putting lines in modern English is not an explanation, but repeating what the character says in the play. Therefore, whatever you do, your answer must be in line with the general sense of what was said by the character in the text. Now, take for example, when you begin your answer with Coriolanus says that, you are explaining, and you have a 0. say what Coriolanus said. If it is in a dance of the forest, the question will be give the meaning of the following words or expressions in context, which therefore means that we are not looking for the dictionary meaning. We are looking for the meaning of the way that expression or that word has been used in that particular context. Take note, therefore, that you must respect the tense, the word class, and the context in which it has been used. If, for example, the word that is underlined is an adjective, your answer must also be an adjective. It's a noun, your answer must also be a noun, and so on and so forth. And how do you identify that your answer is correct? Replace your answer with the word in the extract and read the line through or the expression through. If the expression gives you the same meaning as you understood it from the beginning, then your answer is correct. Let me just take, for example, the whole village is suffering from famine. Your answer cannot be hungry because famine is a noun. Your answer will instead be the whole village is suffering from hunger. You now see that if I say the whole village is suffering from hunger, it makes sense because hunger is a noun. But if I said the whole village is suffering from hungry, it changes the sense. It doesn't even make sense because hungry is an adjective. And so I've changed the word class. Next, questions on style have 4 stages. Stage 1 is the identification. There is the use of imagery. There is the use of metaphor. Then stage 2 is the quotation. In dash, 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 dash. Or if you don't want to quote it, you paraphrase. As this is said, there is a use of metaphor. When I'm now paraphrasing, when Menenius uses the story of the belly to convince the plebeians, I've simply quoted. I've simply paraphrased. But I can go and give the quotation by actually putting in quotes the line that carries the metaphor. Then I give the explanation before I go to the effectiveness. And the effectiveness has to do with themes, character traits, and plot. Volumnia calls her son a harvestman. It's a metaphor. What does a harvester do? A harvester harvests fruits, crops. Why the explanation? Why does he compare Coriolanus to a harvestman? Coriolanus harvests human beings, enemies. He kills human beings in the battlefield as if he were a harvester on a farm. And what is the effectiveness? It highlights Coriolanus's bravery. Next, questions on characterization demand the identification of the character trait, which must be a statement followed by justification from the text or the extract. For example, Menenius is convincing. Menenius is loving. Loving is a character trait. Now you go to justify what makes him to be loving. He defends Coriolanus every time Coriolanus finds himself in problem with the plebeians. Note that character traits for the extract must be limited only to the extract itself, except when the question asks you to go to other parts of the play to bring out other instances of the same character trait. Next, questions on plot do not demand narration, but the consequence of the actions in the extract to the other events in the play. Note that plot is causality, cause and effect. Coriolanus asks for the votes of the plebeians in an arrogant manner. What is the plot? How does it help in the plot? The tribunes easily convince the plebeians that by giving their vote to Coriolanus, they are selling away their liberty. And consequently, if he becomes consul general, he will take away all their liberties and make them slaves, and he will become a tyrant. And they readily agreed because of the manner in which he had asked their votes and their support. Demoke carves the totem. Immediately he realizes that the totem is supposed to be meant for the gathering of the tribe, and the totem is responsible for the desecration of the forest. He refuses to be part of the celebration and decides to take solace in the forest. And because of his presence in the forest, a Shoro seeks him out to carry out revenge for the death of Oremole. That is consequence. Next, questions on language need a broader knowledge of things like nouns, tenses, pronouns, question tags, reported speech, adjectives, adverbs. They may ask you, transform the following sentences to this tense. They may ask you, ask the correct question for the following lines. Ask the correct question will be question tags. Transform the following sentences to the interrogative form. Means you are transforming the sentence. I will be there tomorrow. Will I be there tomorrow? Is a transformation. I will be there tomorrow. Ask the correct question, won't I? That's the difference. Choose nouns and transform them to adjectives. It is not proper nouns. We are talking about abstract nouns. Responsibility. Adjective, responsible. It's not an explanation. You simply give the word and you give a dash and you give the answer. 8. Questions on performance should also be taken note of, such as costumes. They can ask you, what can be the costume that is worn by the following character in this extract? You have to determine what is happening in the extract. What is the role that is played by the particular character for whom they are asking you to prescribe a costume? What role and what will be the significance of that costume to the general understanding of the audience? You should also take note of things like what sound. Sometimes the sound that is produced can tell us the mood of the extract, whether the mood is joyous or melancholic. Lighting, stage props. Take note also that stage props can also function as costume. If, for example, a character comes in an agbada and a cap and a walking stick, the walking stick becomes part of the costume. But if a character enters the room and by the side of a chair there is a walking stick, that walking stick becomes stage prop. But if it is used as an accessory to the dressing of the character, it becomes costume. 9. Your answers should be limited only to the extract, except questions are asked for you to look for information elsewhere in the play. Limit yourself only to the extract. Coriolanus can be proud in Act 1, Scene 3. But we go to maybe Act 2, Scene 1. He is humble. Remember, there are certain elements of humility in Coriolanus. Every time he is in front of his mother, he becomes very humble. So you cannot just take one character trait and just take it for the character throughout the play. It would depend on the elements or the information that is in the extract that you are handling. Lastly, your answers must be precise, brief, obey instruction. For example, if the question says explain, you explain. If the question says list, you list. Listing means dash. If there is a question that has two parts, dash and dash, give the A part in a separate paragraph and the B part in a separate paragraph so as to differentiate the two answers. Bring out the character or bring out what Menenius does and bring out the consequences. What he does should be on a separate paragraph. The consequence should be on a separate paragraph so that the answers are very distinct. I hope these tips will help you to carry out the answers. Thank you.